My life was a damn postcard, or so I thought. A cute suburban house in a quiet Chicago neighborhood, two kids who didn't drive me up the wall too often, and a husband, Mike, who pulled in big bucks as a tech exec. I'm Sarah, 40 years old, and I gave up my marketing career to play the perfect wife and mom. Waffles for breakfast, BBQs on weekends, PTA meetings, the whole nine yards. I had it all figured out, didn't I? But life's got a way of smacking you when you're busy planning your next Pinterest board. A few months ago, Mike started acting off. He'd be glued to his phone at night, smirking at the screen like a teenager with a crush. If I asked what was so funny, he'd snap, "Work stuff, Sarah, don't worry about it." Like I'm too dumb to understand his big shot world. I'd catch him sneaking out of the room to take calls, whispering like he didn't want me to hear. Then the credit card statements started piling up. Fancy hotels, candlelit dinners at places we never went together. I'm talking $200 bottles of wine, the kind of stuff he'd never splurge on for me. When I confronted him, he brushed it off. "Client meetings, babe. You know how it is." "No, Mike, I don't know how it is, because you've never taken me to a client meeting at a Miami resort." My gut was screaming something was wrong, but I kept shoving it down, telling myself I was paranoid. I mean, we'd been married 15 years. We had a life, a family. He wouldn't do that to me, right? Then there's Chloe, my 26-year-old cousin, my aunt's kid. She rolled into Chicago last year, all big eyes and bigger dreams, and I took her under my wing. She's family, you know? I treated her like the little sister I never had. She'd come over for dinner, play with my kids, and I'd listen to her ramble about her latest breakup or job hunt. Hell, I even pulled strings to get her a gig at Mike's company. "Family helps family," I told her, handing her the contact info for HR. She'd hug me, call me her Chicago mom, and I ate it up. Chloe was young, gorgeous, with that effortless glow you lose after years of folding laundry and wiping snotty noses. But I never saw her as a threat. Why would I? She was blood. That all changed one Tuesday afternoon. I was sipping coffee, scrolling through emails, when a message popped up from some random account. No name, no signature, just a subject line. "You deserve to know." My heart did a weird flip, like it knew something I didn't. I clicked, and there they were. Photos that ripped my world apart. Mike, my Mike, with his arm around Chloe at some swanky Miami resort. The same place he swore he'd take us for a family vacation, only to cancel last minute for a work emergency. There he was, grinning like a fool while Chloe leaned into him, her bikini barely covering anything. Another shot showed them kissing, his hand on her waist, her fingers in his hair. I couldn't breathe. My hands shook so bad I dropped my mug, coffee splashing everywhere. This wasn't real. It couldn't be. I sat there staring at the screen, my chest tight like someone was squeezing my lungs. 15 years of marriage, all those late nights helping him prep for presentations, all the times I held him when he was stressed, gone just like that. And Chloe, the girl I'd bought dresses for, who I'd lent money to when she was broke, who I'd trusted like family. She was the one in those photos, laughing with my husband like I didn't exist. I wanted to scream, to throw something, but all I could do was cry. Hot, ugly tears that burned my face. How could they do this to me? How could they both betray me like this? I waited for Mike to get home that night. Every second felt like an hour, my stomach churning, my mind replaying those photos. When he walked in, all casual with his briefcase and fake smile, I lost it. "What the hell is this?" I shoved the printed photos at him, my voice shaking. He froze, his face going pale, but then he had the nerve to laugh. "Sarah, you're being ridiculous. It's not what it looks like." Not what it looks like. I threw the stack on the table, pictures scattering like my broken life. "You're kissing her, Mike. In Miami, you told me you were working." He stammered, trying to spin some bullshit about context, but I wasn't having it. That's when Chloe showed up, perfect timing like she'd been waiting in the wings. She strolled into my house, bold as brass, her lips curled in a smirk. "Oh, Sarah, calm down. You're making a scene." A scene? I was ready to tear her hair out. Then she hit me with it, right there in my own kitchen. "Face it, sis. You're old news. Mike needs someone who keeps up with him, not a washed-up housewife. I swear the room spun. My cousin, the one I'd loved like a sister, was standing there spitting venom. And Mike? He didn't even defend me. He just stood there, looking guilty, before he opened his mouth and made it worse. Sarah, remember when you had the miscarriage? I stuck by you, but it drained me. Chloe, she makes me feel alive again. Alive again? I felt like I'd been punched. That miscarriage was the worst pain of my life, and he was using it against me? My voice broke as I whispered, "You're blaming me for that?" Chloe laughed, actually laughed, and said, "Come on, Sarah, don't be dramatic. Move on." Move on? They'd ripped my heart out, and she was telling me to move on? I looked at Mike, the man I'd built a life with, and saw a stranger. The kids were upstairs, probably hearing every word, and I realized this wasn't just about me. My whole world, our family, our home, was crumbling, and these two were dancing on the rubble. I don't know how I didn't collapse right there. My hands were shaking, my face wet with tears, but something inside me snapped into focus. I wasn't going to let them walk all over me. Not Mike, not Chloe, not anyone. They thought they could break me, but they didn't know who they were messing with. I wiped my face, straightened my back, and stared them down. "Get out," I said, my voice low but steady. "Both of you, now." Mike opened his mouth, but I cut him off. I said, "Get out!" Chloe rolled her eyes, but they left, and as the door slammed, I sank to the floor sobbing. My perfect life was a lie, and the storm was just beginning. The house was a tomb after Mike and Chloe left. The kids, Lily and Ethan, were asleep upstairs, thank God. But I couldn't shake the echo of Chloe's smug voice or Mike's cold excuse about my miscarriage. I sat on the kitchen floor, surrounded by those damn photos, my eyes burning from crying. 15 years of marriage, countless dinners I cooked, soccer games I cheered at, and for what? To be tossed aside for my own cousin? I trusted her like a sister, I whispered to the empty room, my voice cracking. Chloe, with her wide-eyed gratitude, had played me like a fool. I'd given her money when she was broke, bought her that stupid leather jacket she wore in those Miami photos, even helped her settle in Chicago. And this was my reward. A knife in the back. I dragged myself to the living room where our family photos mocked me from the walls. There we were, smiling at Lily's 5th birthday, Mike's arm around me, Chloe in the background with a slice of cake. I wanted to rip them all down, but my hands wouldn't move. Instead, I grabbed my phone and scrolled through old texts from Chloe. "You're the best, Sarah. Love you tons," she'd written last Christmas. Lies. All of it. My chest ached like someone had carved it open, and every memory of her felt like poison now. How long had they been sneaking around? How many times had she sat at my table, eating my food while planning to steal my husband? Mike didn't even try to hide it anymore. The next morning, he came by, not to apologize, but to pack his bags. "I'm staying with Chloe downtown," he said, shoving shirts into a duffel bag like it was no big deal. "We need space, Sarah." Space? He'd already taken everything, my trust, my dignity, our life. I stood there, gripping the counter to keep from screaming. "What about the kids?" I asked, my voice shaking. He shrugged, and said, "They'll be fine. You're good with them." Then he was gone, leaving me with a half-empty closet and a heart full of rage. I wanted to chase him, to claw his eyes out, but what good would it do? He'd chosen her. Chloe, that snake, made sure I knew it. She posted on Instagram that same day a photo of her and Mike at some rooftop bar, his arm around her waist, her wearing that damn jacket I'd bought her. The caption read, "Real love doesn't wait." She tagged mutual friends, knowing I'd see it. My phone buzzed with pity texts from people I hadn't spoken to in years. "Sarah, you okay?" "I can't believe Chloe did that." I didn't reply. I couldn't. Every notification was a reminder that my humiliation was public now, a spectacle for everyone to gawk at. I threw my phone across the room, watching it skid under the couch. "You little bitch," I muttered, my voice hoarse. She wasn't just stealing my husband, she was rubbing it in my face. Then came the family betrayal, the kind that cuts deeper than anything. Mike's mom, Linda, showed up at my door a few days later. I thought she'd at least have some sympathy, but no. She sat on my couch, sipping tea I didn't offer, and laid into me. Mike's the breadwinner, Sarah. You've been at home doing what? You didn't keep him happy, so what did you expect? Chloe's young, she made a mistake, but you need to think of the kids and let this go. I stared at her, my jaw tight. Let it go? Your son cheated on me with my cousin, and I'm supposed to beg him to stay? I snapped. She sighed like I was the unreasonable one. Don't make this harder than it needs to be, she said, then left. I slammed the door so hard the frame rattled. It got worse. My aunt, Chloe's mom, called from Ohio, her voice all fake concern. Sarah, honey, don't blow this out of proportion. Chloe's young. She didn't mean it. You know how girls are at that age. I gripped the phone so tight my knuckles turned white. She's 26, not 16, and she's sleeping concurrent with my husband, I shouted. You raised her, and this is what she does to family? She stammered, then hung up. I stood there shaking, feeling like the whole world had turned on me. My own family, Mike's family. Nobody had my back. It was like I was the villain for being hurt, for daring to call out their precious Chloe. I was drowning, but two people kept me from going under. Emily, my college best friend, drove over that night with a bottle of wine and a hug that made me cry again. That bastard doesn't deserve you. And Chloe? She's trash, she said, pouring me a glass. We're gonna make them regret this. My brother David, a lawyer with a temper, was even fiercer. Mike's done, Sarah. I'll bury him in court if I have to, he promised, already pulling up divorce papers on his laptop. Their anger fueled me, gave me something to hold on to when I felt like I was falling apart. Then I found the final straw, the one that turned my pain into fire. I was going through our bank statements, trying to figure out how to pay the bills now that Mike was gone, when I saw it. $50,000 transferred from our joint savings to an account in Chloe's name. That was the college fund for Lily and Ethan, the money I'd scrimped and saved for years. Mike's note on the transfer? Business investment. Investment, my ass. He was funneling our kid's future to his mistress. I sat there, staring at the screen, my blood boiling. You son of a bitch, I hissed, slamming my laptop shut. That was it. No more tears, no more self-pity. I wasn't just hurt anymore. I was furious. Mike and Chloe thought they could walk all over me, take everything I'd built and leave me with nothing? Hell no. I called David that night. I'm done playing nice, I said, my voice steady for the first time in days. I want a divorce and I want everything. House, kids, alimony, all of it. He didn't hesitate. Good, let's make them pay. Emily was already digging through Chloe's social media, saving screenshots of her gloating posts. I wasn't sure what we'd do with them yet, but I knew one thing. I wasn't going down without a fight. Mike and Chloe had underestimated me, and that was their biggest mistake. They wanted to play dirty? Fine. I'd show them just how dirty I could get. The weeks after I found that $50,000 transfer were a blur of rage and survival. I barely slept, my mind racing with images of Mike and Chloe laughing at me, living it up in their fancy downtown apartment while I scraped by to keep the lights on. My house, once warm with kids' laughter and Sunday dinners, felt like a hollow shell. Every creak of the floorboards reminded me of Mike packing his bags, of Chloe's smirk as she called me old news. I'd catch myself staring at the fridge, where Lily's crayon drawings hung next to a photo of us at the zoo. Mike, me, the kids, and Chloe in the background, smiling like she belonged. How did I miss it? I muttered, my voice lost in the empty kitchen. The betrayal wasn't just a knife, it was 1,000 cuts, slicing deeper every time I remembered their lies. Mike and Chloe didn't stop at stealing my husband and my savings. They went for my dignity next. With Chloe egging him on and some sleazy lawyer in their corner, Mike filed for divorce and demanded half of everything, including the house my parents helped us buy. The nerve of that bastard. He knew that house was my anchor, the one thing I could count on for the kids. But he didn't care. He even had the gall to spread rumors, claiming I was sleeping with my gym trainer, a guy I'd barely spoken to. Chloe, that little snake, doctored photos. Me smiling at the gym, the trainer nearby. edited to look like we were cozy. The lies spread like wildfire, hitting the kids' school. I overheard a mom at pickup whisper, "That's her, the one cheating on her husband." My face burned. I gave up everything for my family. I wanted to scream. Instead, I grabbed Ethan's hand and walked away, my heart pounding with shame I didn't deserve. The worst part? The isolation. Friends I'd known for years stopped calling, either because they believed the rumors or didn't want to pick sides. I felt like a pariah, marked by Mike and Chloe's poison. One night, I broke down in the bathroom, staring at my reflection. "What did I do wrong?" I whispered, my eyes red from crying. Was I too boring? Too focused on the kids? Had I let myself go? I ran my hands over my face, tracing lines that weren't there 10 years ago. Mike's words about the miscarriage haunted me. Had I been too broken then? Too much for him to handle? For a moment, I hated myself almost as much as I hated them. But I wasn't alone, not completely. Emily and David were my lifelines. Emily, bless her, turned into a one-woman detective agency. She tracked down a video from a bar where Mike, drunk off his ass, bragged to his buddies about banging the hot cousin and how he'd screw Sarah over in the divorce. "Got him," Emily texted, sending me the file. My stomach churned watching it, but that video was gold. A ticking bomb I'd use when the time was right. David, meanwhile, was all business, building my case like a general planning war. "They're sloppy, Sarah," he said, poring over bank records. "We'll nail them." Their support kept me sane, but it didn't dull the pain. Chloe, true to form, kept twisting the knife. She showed up at my yoga class, my one escape, strutting in with her skin-tight leggings and fake smile. "Oh, Sarah, didn't expect you here," she chirped, loud enough for everyone to hear. Then she launched into a monologue about her amazing life with Mike, how they were so in love. I gripped my mat, my nails digging into my palms. "Get lost, Chloe," I snapped, my voice low but shaking. She just laughed and sauntered off, leaving me humiliated in front of strangers. Later, she sent me a text. "Give it up, sis. Mike's mine. Go back to your boring life." I stared at the message, my blood boiling. "You'll regret this," I muttered, saving the screenshot for David. My aunt called again, begging me to forgive Chloe for the sake of family. "She's just a kid, Sarah. Don't ruin her life," she pleaded. I laughed, bitter and cold. Ruin her life? She ruined mine. I hung up, my hands trembling. Family? What family? The only family I had left were Lily, Ethan, David, and Emily. Everyone else could go to hell. That call lit a fire in me. I wasn't just fighting for myself anymore. I was fighting for my kids, for the life I'd built, for every woman who'd been betrayed and told to let it go. The divorce mediation was my chance to strike back. Mike walked in, all cocky in his tailored suit, with Chloe trailing behind like his personal cheerleader. He spun lies about my affair, claiming he deserved the house because I'd abandoned our marriage. I sat there, my heart racing, waiting for the right moment. When he finished, my lawyer slid the bar video across the table and hit play. Mike's slurred voice filled the room, boasting about Chloe, about screwing me over. The mediator's face went stone cold. Mike froze, his mouth half open while Chloe's smug grin vanished. You can't use this," Mike stammered. My lawyer smiled. "Oh, we can, and we will." The room was silent except for the hum of the projector. I locked eyes with Mike, my voice steady. "You're done." I walked out of that room feeling lighter, like I'd shed a weight I'd been carrying for months. Chloe tried to follow, muttering some excuse, but I cut her off. "Don't even try," I said, my voice ice. She backed off, her face pale. For the first time, I saw fear in her eyes, and it felt good. I wasn't the broken woman they'd mocked anymore. I was a mother, a fighter, and I was done playing their game. Mike and Chloe thought they could bury me, but they'd just handed me the shovel. This wasn't over, not by a long shot. The air in the courtroom still buzzed in my ears as I drove home after that mediation. That video of Mike slurring his betrayal to his buddies had flipped the game. For the first time in months, I felt like I was the one holding the cards. But the fight wasn't over, and Mike and Chloe weren't going down quietly. They thought they could outsmart me, but karma's a ruthless bitch, and she was about to collect. Mike's world started crumbling faster than I could have hoped. His company, already sniffing around after the divorce rumors, got wind of his shady dealings. A coworker, some guy who'd never liked Mike's smug attitude, accidentally leaked emails to the CEO. Proof Mike had been siphoning company funds to cover his and Chloe's lavish lifestyle. Fancy dinners, that Miami trip, even Chloe's new designer bags, all on the company dime. By the end of the week, Mike was out of a job, his golden boy reputation shredded. I heard through Emily that he'd begged his boss for a second chance, but they escorted him out like a thief. Couldn't have happened to a nicer guy, Emily texted with a string of laughing emojis. I didn't laugh, but I felt a grim satisfaction. He'd built his castle on lies, and now it was rubble. Chloe, true to form, didn't stick around to help him pick up the pieces. Without Mike's fat paycheck, her true love act evaporated. She started posting cryptic TikToks, whining about fake people and broke losers, clearly aimed at Mike. One video went viral, her ranting about how Mike was useless and couldn't keep up with her. "I deserve better," she screeched, flipping her hair like some reality TV reject. The comments tore her apart. "Gold digger. Karma's real." I watched it late one night, my kids asleep upstairs, and muttered, "You made your bed, princess." Word got around that she'd already moved on, cozying up to some rich gym owner with a Ferrari. Typical Chloe, always chasing the next shiny thing. Mike's fall was public and brutal. His old buddies, the ones who'd cheered his conquest in that bar video, ghosted him. Social media was merciless. Memes about his TikTok humiliation spread faster than Chloe's legs. He went from tech hotshot to a cautionary tale. A guy who threw away his family for a fling and lost everything. I didn't feel sorry for him, not one bit. He'd chosen this every step of the way. "You thought you could screw me over?" I whispered to the empty living room, clutching a glass of wine. "Look at you now." The final court date was my victory lap. David and my lawyer had built an airtight case. The bar video, bank statements showing Mike's investment in Chloe, even her taunting text to me. Mike's lawyer tried to spin it, claiming he was under stress, but the judge wasn't buying it. I sat there, my hands steady, as the ruling came down. I got the house, full custody of Lily and Ethan, and Mike was ordered to pay child support and alimony. His face was gray, like he'd aged 10 years in 10 minutes. Chloe, who'd shown up to support him, slipped out the back before the gavel hit. I caught her eye as she fled, and I didn't need to say a word. My silence said it all. "You're nothing." Mike's mom, Linda, sent a half-assed apology text a few days later. "I'm sorry things got messy, Sarah. Let's move forward." Move forward? I didn't bother replying. She'd defended her precious son while he and Chloe tore my life apart. My aunt, Chloe's mom, went radio silent, probably too ashamed to face me. Good. I didn't need their fake tears or excuses. The friends who'd believed Mike's lies about my affair tried crawling back, sending awkward, "How you holding up when you're" messages. I ignored them. My circle was small now. Emily, David, my kids. But it was real. Mike had the nerve to call me after the ruling, his voice all pathetic. "Sarah, I messed up. Can we talk?" I laughed, cold and sharp. "Talk? You're joking, right? You're done, Mike. Stay the hell out of my life." I hung up, my heart racing, but not with pain, with power. He'd begged, and I'd shut him down. For the first time, I felt like I was in control. Not just surviving, but winning. Chloe's downfall was quieter, but just as sweet. Without Mike's money, her influencer dreams fizzled. Her Instagram posts got fewer likes. Her sponsorships dried up, and her new gym owner boyfriend dumped her when he realized she was more drama than arm candy. I heard she was crashing on a friend's couch, back to square one. "Should have kept the job I got you," I muttered, scrolling past her latest desperate selfie. She'd burned every bridge, and I wasn't shedding a tear. As the dust settled, I stood in my kitchen, the same one where I'd confronted Mike and Chloe months ago. The photos were gone, replaced by Lily's latest drawing, a bright sun over our house. I ran my fingers over it, my chest lighter than it had been in forever. Mike and Chloe had tried to bury me, but they'd only made me stronger. "You thought I'd break," I said to the empty room, a small smile tugging at my lips. They'd paid the price for their lies, and I was still standing. The war was over, and I'd won. Not just the house or the kids, but my pride, my fight, my life. Karma didn't miss, and neither did I. The storm was over, and I was still standing. My house, once a battlefield of tears and betrayal, felt like a home again. The kids' laughter echoed through the halls, and I could breathe without that crushing weight on my chest. Mike and Chloe had tried to destroy me, but I'd clawed my way out of their mess, stronger, fiercer, and, dare I say it, happier than I'd been in years. "You thought you'd break me," I whispered to my reflection one morning, brushing my freshly cut bob. The woman staring back wasn't the broken Sarah who'd sobbed on the kitchen floor. She was a badass, and she was taking her life back. I started small, reclaiming the pieces of myself I'd lost in the chaos. I hit the gym. Not to keep up with Chloe's nonsense, but for me. The burn in my muscles felt like a purge, sweating out the pain of Mike's lies. I traded my mom jeans for sleek leggings and tops I'd never dared wear before. "Damn, Sarah, you're glowing," Emily said at one of our wine nights, and I laughed, feeling the truth of it. I wasn't just surviving, I was thriving. My mirror became my friend again, showing a woman who wasn't defined by betrayal but by her own strength. Then I chased a dream I'd buried long ago. Back in college, I'd loved baking, cupcakes specifically, with swirls of frosting that made people smile. Mike had called it a cute hobby, so I'd let it go, focusing on his career and our kids. Screw that. I started an online cupcake business, pouring my heart into every batch. I'd stay up late, perfecting recipes, my kitchen glowing with the warm light of the oven. My first order came from a neighbor, then another, and soon I was shipping boxes across Chicago. "These are insane," a customer posted on Instagram, tagging my little logo. Orders poured in, and I had to hire a part-time helper to keep up. The money wasn't just nice, it was mine, earned by my hands, my hustle. I didn't need Mike's alimony to stand tall. Lily and Ethan were my anchor through it all. I made sure they felt safe, loved, even after their dad's betrayal. We started new traditions. Friday movie nights with popcorn and blankets. Weekend camping trips where we'd roast marshmallows and count stars. "Mom, this is way better than Dad's boring golf trips," Ethan said one night, his face lit by the campfire. I hugged him tight, my heart full. Lily, quieter since the divorce, opened up too, drawing pictures of us three, our little unbreakable team. I framed one and hung it in the living room, a reminder that we didn't need Mike to be whole. I found community in unexpected places. I joined a local women's group, a mix of divorcees, single moms, and fighters like me. Sharing my story, Mike's affair, Chloe's backstabbing, my comeback, felt like shedding a skin. "You're a warrior, Sarah," one woman said, her eyes teary. I started speaking at their events, my voice steady as I told strangers how I'd rebuilt from nothing. Every nod, every tear in the audience reminded me I wasn't alone. I wasn't just healing, I was inspiring others to rise too. Then there was Tom. I hadn't seen him since college, but we ran into each other at a coffee shop one rainy afternoon. He was older now, with kind eyes and a quiet confidence, running his own small marketing firm. "Sarah, you look different. Good different," he said, and I blushed, something I hadn't done in years. Our coffee dates became a regular thing. Nothing heavy, just easy conversation, laughs, and a warmth I hadn't felt in forever. "No pressure, Sarah," he said one evening, his hand brushing mine. "I'm just happy to know you again." My heart fluttered, not with the desperate need I'd once felt for Mike, but with hope. Gentle, real hope. Mike tried creeping back once, at a charity fair where I was selling cupcakes. He shuffled up, looking like a man who'd lost a fight with life. Rumpled clothes, bags under his eyes. "Sarah, can we talk?" he mumbled, his voice weak. I set down my spatula, my face stone cold. "I don't talk to trash, Mike. Stay out of my life," I said, loud enough for the crowd to turn. He slunk away, and I went back to my booth, my hands steady. He was nothing to me now, just a ghost of a mistake I'd outgrown. I heard he was scraping by as a freelancer, his old tech world slamming doors in his face. Good, he'd earned every second of that struggle. Chloe was a fading echo, too. Her TikTok fame fizzled, her boyfriends dropping her when the cash ran dry. Last I heard, she was working odd jobs, her Instagram a sad mix of filtered selfies and fake smiles. Keep chasing, Chloe, I muttered, scrolling past her latest post. She'd burned her bridges, and I wasn't one to rebuild them. One evening, I drove to Lake Michigan, the kids asleep in the back seat. The wind whipped my hair as I stood on the shore, the water stretching endless and blue. I closed my eyes, feeling the peace I'd fought for. They thought I'd crumble, I said to the waves, my voice strong. Mike, Chloe, the family who'd turned their backs, they were nothing but shadows now, props in a story I'd rewritten. I was a mother, a businesswoman, a survivor, and yeah, maybe even a queen. Life had knocked me down, but I'd decided my own ending. The sky above was mine, wide and free, and I was ready for whatever came next.